Good morning. Welcome to Tea in a Book Tuesday, episode 41 with author Lisa Prysock. I am coming to you from my dining room in Kentucky. I'm drinking an English breakfast tea this morning. I hope you have something to drink that you enjoy and a minute or two to chat with me. So I am so excited about this writing conference that I attended last week, and I wanted to share a little bit more about that with you today. This was the Kentucky Christian Writers Conference. And for me, since I donate the majority of the proceeds from my books to evangelical missions, things like that, it's not as easy for me to get to writing conferences. So I was thrilled to be able to attend this one because it was deeply discounted. And it was all online this year because of the COVID. So it was a conference that exploded. It's normally in Elizabethtown and has about 125 attendees. But this year it exploded to about 400 people because of it being available online. And I do think they'll probably continue that in the coming years. And so it was a phenomenal opportunity to learn, to be motivated, strengthened, and to make connections with other writers and people in the writing industry. And so much of what we do as writers has to do with our relationships and our connections in the writing world. So it was just amazing and so motivating and strengthening and just extremely helpful. It answered a lot of questions that I've had since I became a writer. And that was just amazing to be able to have questions that I've carried with me for years, to be able to have those answered. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about some of the classes that I took. It kicked off on last Thursday with an agent editor panel. And that was absolutely amazing to hear from agents and editors out there with small house and traditional publishing houses that, they answer a lot of my questions about writing submissions and what they look for and things like that. And then some of the classes that I took on Friday, there was a wonderful keynote session with our speaker, and then I zipped through probably about 6 more hours of classes. So I attended a class about Christian writing, another class called Publishing 101, which was hosted by a small house publisher. It was very interesting to hear more on her perspective about what they look for as a small house publisher. And then also I attended the last editing class you'll ever need. That was awesome. Another keynote session about the productive writer and being productive. Picking the right fight was also an amazing, awesome class, because it helps you strengthen when you write like fighting scenes. Also, I attended the Writer's Toolbox, which was amazing. It was a class about resources for writers. Then the next day, I attended Maximizing Your Writer Voice and Ask the Agent. Another class, which was awesome, was about the publishing contract. And it was covering things about what to avoid when you get into a contract and how to get a contract that is mutually beneficial for both you and the publishing house that you're partnering with. That was just an awesome class. And then also video marketing for authors. I really enjoyed that class because it was conducted by an author who is both a mentor and a friend. And of course, I do Tina Book Tuesday videos. So this was just amazing to be in that class. And I attended a class about reviews and another class about the business aspects of writing. And the most awesome thing was the final keynote session where the topic was the persevering writer. And this just strengthened me overall because sometimes in writing you can get discouraged if it's not an easy business by any means. So, but it is something that I feel called to, and this was just exactly the words that I think we all needed to hear as writers, to continue to do what God has called us to do, regardless of the results we may see. And that was just so strengthening and motivating. And then also, I gave some thought to my writer voice, and I have thought about this before a lot, and I came back to what I went into it with, that the Lord had spoken to me before I went into any ministry, and he said to me, don't go back and belabor things that you've come out of, and focus on the lessons that you've learned through your experiences, and to give you some idea of how valuable that has been for me. You have to know that your writer voice is what's left when you take away a lot of the elements of a story. But it is, like the sum total of your experiences and your writing style and your beliefs. And when you put that all together, you'll see this voice emerge out of all of your writing work. And so, I had a discussion with my husband a little bit about that after the conference. I came back to what I went into writing with what God told me. And he had said, I came out of a difficult childhood with extremely challenging circumstances. It would almost be considered tragic on some levels. And yet the Lord was really happy with me that I continued to endure with him and persevere with him. And I felt like he was rewarding me and giving me joy and peace and strength through continuing to stick with him regardless of what my circumstances in life had been. So I find that perseverance, endurance, redemption, reward, and joy are, definitely themes. He doesn't want me to belabor something that happened, 20 years ago, that he said, I'm done with that. This is a new day, a new song. So sing a new song and talk about the lessons you've learned and inspire people that way. So that's definitely a big part of my voice, is that perseverance and endurance and the joy that comes with sticking through the journey. So sticking with God through the journey. And I hope you'll find that when you read my books, that is really a huge part of my message. So thank you so much for joining me today. We had a great Father's Day weekend. We showered my husband with lots of gifts and a wonderful breakfast and family all around. And it was just great to talk to our daughter and be together as a family. So I hope you had a great weekend as well. Thanks for tuning in for this week's session of Tea and a Book Tuesday.